folks. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Jonathan Esposito, I live at 5 Shelley Drive here in Londonderry. I wish to speak on the topic of banned books and a conversation that I had with Director Matlin, to which I was not given clear answers on over the summer. If you'll allow me to engage in a brief narrative, on or around June 28th, I donated a copy of the book to the library. I've given it to the circulation desk here. I specifically asked that it not be donated for sale by the Friends of the Library, but that it be admitted to circulation. I have a copy of the book right here. It is The Croydon Budget Battle. It is a non-fiction work by a New Hampshire author who is a NASA employee and served on the town council. It represents actual events that occurred in 2022 in the community of Croydon, New Hampshire, and contentious topics that we discussed here in our own community in Londonderry, discussing fiscal responsibility of school districts, and the topic that I think is particularly relevant to the mission of the library: how do we improve and achieve student literacy in a fiscally responsible manner? The trustees had just attended their conference in June, and I noticed that several of the breakout sessions were geared toward social justice and other progressive agenda items. I did not see a single breakout session that was specifically directed towards using the library resources to engage literacy. So I thought, what a better month, what a more important time to donate a piece of work that is actually surrounding promoting literacy in the community and how we can do it better. The book that I donated sat on a shelf for a couple of months. I only found this out because I filed a 91A government records request asking for emails between the library staff. I had emailed Director Matlin about a month and a half after I donated this work on Friday, August 18th at about noontime, and I said, hey, I heard another member of the community who had also donated a more conservative piece of work. They had some questions as well. Could you give me an update on the status of my donation? There were several queries exchanged via library staff members, and then at about 4:48 p.m. on Friday, August 18th, Jennifer Bryant, who I believe is the children's circulation director, emailed Director Matlin and said, oh, I think I know what book they're talking about. I stuck it aside in a box in case anybody asked for it. Can we have a verbal conversation about this next week? The discussion, at least in my opinion, was intentionally taken offline and off the email thread so that it would not be able to be reproduced via email. Apparently, Jennifer and Director Matlin had that conversation because the very next business day, Monday, August 21st, I received an email from Director Matlin at approximately 1 p.m. that day stating, thank you for your donation of the Croydon Budget Battle, but we will not be adding it to circulation. Now, in follow-on correspondence with Director Matlin, she made it sound like because the Warren article failed earlier this year, that the library has not had enough staff to reasonably process donations in a timely manner. And I understand that may be the case. The concern that I have with this particularly donated work is that somebody here in the library examined it, made the determination that it was so offensive or inappropriate in some regard that it would not be added to circulation to the physically available works here at the library. And when I asked Director Matlin to tell me who made that determination, was it her, was it director of circulation, or was it the trustees, she has to date refused to give me a detailed answer as to why this work was not accepted for physical donation to circulation. So I don't know if the library director would like to take the opportunity to address that tonight, seeing as the author is here in the audience and has a similar query. That's what I have for public comment. Did you have the opportunity to respond before I said, Director?
No. Thanks a lot, Mr. Esposito. The author's here. Let's see, we will speak. Yeah.
So the book is certainly banned. We would want to entertain any further discussion regarding it. So.
Go ahead.
It's not banned, it is available, and we can interlibrary loan it from another library.
So why can't we accept a brand new copy of it? I purchased this new for donation to the circulation, and why couldn't you give me that answer in the preceding months, Director?
I didn't answer you because you immediately filed the 91A, which then required me to provide the documentation. It did not allow me to answer the question you asked. And I did answer the question later on in an email when you asked again.
Why exactly did it sit in a separate book on the shelf for 2 months? And can you give me the details of the discussion that you had with taxpayer-funded employee enrollment on Monday morning?
So the conversation I had with Jennifer was related to a different donation that we received. Your donation we discussed with my colleagues, my assistant director, my head of circulation, our head of reference. We discussed the donation, and we decided since it was available from another library, we can certainly interlibrary loan it with no problem, that we would be able to do that. The reasoning we didn't specifically add it to our library was, one of the reasons was we didn't feel it was related directly to Londonderry. So that was one of the reasons. Another reason was we are careful about our shelf space, so we need to take a look at that. There was, I think, other discussions related to why we thought about the book, we looked up the book, there were no reviews, we couldn't find anything to validate the book, it was self-published, so there was a lot of things that went into the decision.
I just feel like I perhaps should not have had to come take time away from my family and come utilize the time of the trustees, utilize everyone else's time here at public comment to get those answers. It would have been helpful if those were more forthcoming and transparent at the time that I asked them. I certainly hope that this is a lesson on being more transparent with citizens in the future. And thank you for entertaining the public comment.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question? I thought a comment was made at one of the previous meetings that all local author books get automatically put on the shelves, they get accepted. They don't have to wait for months to get put on.
It's not a local author, these are Londonderry authors.
Okay, so it doesn't matter if they're New Hampshire, it's just specific Londonderry?
Well, for the local author, yes, for that specific case.
So all the books that got automatically put on the shelves were all current Londonderry residents?
Yes, or if we had them from when they were passed. Did you want to?
So everything that we add to the collection has to fit the collection development policy, regardless of whether it's a local author or not. So every book that's added is considered a piece of collection development policy, which is adopted by the board.
Good. Yeah.
I'd like to speak.
Come right.
Question, what temperature does it take to burn books?
451 degrees
Fahrenheit
Fahrenheit.
451. We know this fact due to Ray Bradbury's dystopian novel that was required reading when I was in high school long ago. I bring this fact to everyone's attention as this is a result that can occur when book banning is allowed to creep into a society. We again become aware of this temperature and its ability to cause intellectual destruction. We just referred to the rise of Hitler and the Nazi regime that we thwarted in World War II. They began with book banning that led to book burning and then to other atrocities that we need all not to forget. Just reference an often banned book, Mouse. Who are these people, such as Maureen Hardy, who in June 2023 spoke to the New Hampshire Library Trustees Association, saying that it, quote, does not reflect New Hampshire family or Londonderry values, unquote. Who is she to be stating what our state, town, or family values are or are not? Although the NHLTA has no affiliation with our state library and does not receive funds from the state or federal government, it has existed to support local libraries in New Hampshire since 1957. Who is Christine Perez? If she is an elected official and lives in our town, should she gain opinions from her constituents prior to making her concerns about Marxist ideology or defaming the LGBTQA community with her personal concerns about an article titled Queering the Catalog?
Excuse me, I think we're gonna have to.
This is a person speaking for Londonderry residents, ma'am,
Yes, but you should.
and her personal agenda. If it is the latter, maybe it is time to elect a different representative. Who is Christine Fitzgerald?
Right here?
If she is a library trustee, why is she questioning our library's membership in the American Library Association?
Am I right?
The ALA is the national networking organization to which all libraries belong, and which they receive numerous needed resources and extensive trainings. Folks, it is clear, never in the history of mankind have book banners been on the right side of any issue. As a weekly Leach Library patron, often picking up large print mysteries for my 94-year-old mother, I'm here to express her considerations as an American citizen who was born in 1929 and who has lived through World War II. She is most concerned with the rise of anti-Semitism, blatant attacks on people in the LGBTQA community, and vocalization of small-minded people who desire to wreak havoc on a free society that includes this local library. Cicero once posited, "A room without books is like a body without a soul." In the mindset of George Orwell, in times of universal deceit, telling the truth will be a revolutionary act. Thus, my act is to question, is it time to be proactive and start a nonprofit organization that may take a name such as Support Our Local Library? Must I step forward as a retired professor emeritus of the University of Pennsylvania, Bloomsburg, with an educational doctorate and many years of experience as a public school teacher, and run for the next vacancy on Leach Library's Board of Trustees? What are the credentials of these aforementioned people who are determined to ban books in our community and perpetuate their value system on the citizens of Londonderry? I conclude with a few salient quotes. The first from the American Civil Liberties Union. Quote, "A person can decide that they don't want to read a certain book. They can decide that they don't want their child to read that book. But they can't decide that an entire school or entire town can't read that book." Comedian Ricky Gervais once stated, "Just because you're offended does not mean that you're right." I end this supportive statement promoting New Hampshire's motto of live free or die with a quote from Ray Bradbury. Quote, "The problem in our country isn't with books being banned, but with people no longer reading. You don't have to burn books to destroy a culture. Just get people to stop reading them. May this controlling horror not occur in Londonderry." Thank you for your time.
Point of order, please. So, we just had a gentleman call out people by name who refused to identify himself.
I was just gonna ask him for his
Yeah.
name. Sir, can you please?
David Walker,
Thank you,
Cross Farm.
thank you.
Can I make a comment to that as well? You had mentioned that I was trying to ban books. Could you specifically tell me what books I was trying to ban?
The American Library Association.
That's an organization, it's not a book.
You know, but we shouldn't get into personalities in here. I tried to shut you up so that you wouldn't keep referring to the trustee, or the individual trustees. I don't know if there were problems, but in order to personally bring you out of it, if you just, I appreciate it. Okay, who is next? The lady with the hand.
Thank you. I will try to be brief. My name is Erica Lowey. I live at 18 Lancaster Drive. I have 2 young kids in our school district. I am here for 2 reasons. The first is, like many of you, I've heard the rumors that there have been requests to remove books from shelves, requests to ban books in our library. And I think many of the people here tonight, I believe that the banning of books is the strategy of fascists and cowards. We need to have access to books. We need to have access to conflicting ideas and topics that make us uncomfortable in order to grow as a citizenry, in order to grow up children, raise children who are thoughtful, engaged, mindful, and productive citizens. We cannot accomplish that if we let political whims dominate and choose for us what we can or can't allow our children to read or give our children access to choose for themselves. Tangentially, on that topic, I am beyond concerned and horrified that we would consider removing ourselves from the ALA, removing our membership from the ALA. I don't know exactly what the rationale is, although I do know what the ALA does and does not provide. And I know one of the things that the ALA does provide that is relatively new is social justice training. And particularly training for librarians and staff to be able to meet every single person who walks in their door with respect, courtesy, kindness, and engagement that makes us feel like we have a safe place to be at the library. I'm a queer parent. Hey, I've just added myself to all of you. I am married, but I'm a queer person. I want my children walking into the library to know that I will be treated with the same respect as my straight neighbor who also walks into the library. I want my children to grow up knowing that no matter who they are, that when they walk into that library, they will be treated with kindness, courtesy, and respect by the staff members there. I want the children who live in this community, who are themselves trans, non-binary, questioning, who grew up with very personal, deeply personal familial connections to histories that are very unpleasant in our community, like racism, slavery, immigration restrictions, all the isms you could possibly think of. There are so many children in this community for whom those are very real. Abuse, trauma, that they live those experiences, they know those experiences personally. They need to know that they're walking into a place where that stuff can be handled. That's not scary, that's not threatening, that's not something taboo, that's something that is part of their experiences as a person. And the ALA is there in part to make sure that libraries can do that. I am not okay with the idea that somebody would take that away from us and take that away from every member of our community. I am beyond enraged that that is something that is going on right now. And I implore you, please do not let that happen. Please let us keep ourselves diverse. Please let us keep our staff informed. Please let us keep the library that makes so many of us feel safe and welcome and able to be and raise our children to be whoever they are going to be. Thank you very much.
So, I'm sorry, just one second, I just wanted to address that.
No, I just.
Okay.
7-Eleven is one of my field crafts. I've been coming to Matthew Thornton I've been coming to Matthew Thornton Leach Library since it was at Matthew Thornton. I'm really here, she spoke eloquently, I agree. I'm here to register the fact that I totally support the library. I want to see it happening the way it is. I don't want other people controlling what books are in this library just because of the values that they think that belong to the town of Londonderry. I would say don't take out books you don't want, supervise your children, leave the books there for people that do want to read them. I support making Londonderry as diverse and welcoming a community as we can make it, and an open library is certainly one way to do that. And I will close with a quote from Jodi Picoult, which I lost and then found again just this afternoon. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a parent deciding a certain book is not right for her child. There's a colossal problem with a parent deciding that. Therefore, no child should be allowed to read that book.
Hi, I am here as part of one of the oldest families in Londonderry. Linda Harvey, 11 Avery Road, the Harveys and the Averys, one of the oldest families in this community. I was born and raised here. I grew up in this community. I attended the schools here. I grew up in the library here. I can't count how many afternoons I spent in this library. This library was where I did my homework, is where I did my research. This library was a huge, important piece of my life. And particularly because when I was young, we did not have internet. We did not have a lot of the fancy new gadgets that we have nowadays, for a lot of different reasons. But this library was important to me. Mouse was also a profoundly important piece of work for me. It was shaping on my personal views. One of my best friends and one of my oldest friends in my entire life is Jewish, and her family is Jewish. Mouse opened my eyes to a lot of the experiences that her hereditary has experienced. I also went to Germany and went to a concentration camp. I also went to DC and went to the museum there. I felt shame and pain on what has happened to those people. And yes, those works were hard to absorb. No, they were not easy to read. And you know what, if somebody doesn't want to read it, they don't have to. But I don't think it should be removed from the shelves. I don't think it should be banned. I do not think we should be removed from the ALA. Please do not affect our freedom to access information. Please do not ban books. We do not need to go back 300 years and start back with book burnings. I have said my piece, thank you.
Bartley Hill Road. Like yourself, I'm a lifetime resident. I've done my homework here. This is a place to come to get unbiased information, not polluted with any, opinions. It's a place to go get facts. And I think that's one of the important things that a library can provide, an unbiased place to get facts. I think we're combining two very, very different issues here. Banning books and taking books and hiding them, I want to sure we can have that debate. But the membership to the ALA, to me, the problem I have, it's become a very one-sided political organization. And to have that bias as a governing body kind of undermines what we expect. We're told, follow the science, use the unbiased research, use unbiased works. And if we're in a place that's governed by such a severe one-sided mentality, this place can't be that anymore. I caution you, the library, a lot of people would argue, it's a dinosaur. It's a relic from a former past. We need to hold on to what value it does have to be a place to get away from all the rhetoric, all the one-sided opinions, all the one-sided papers, and to find the truth. And how can we be confident the truth is there if we are governed by such a one-sided organization like the ALA? So I do not support any tax dollars going to fund the ALA.
Gentlemen,
Robert Saul, 4 Mountain Hall Road. I have a point of order I just wanted to clarify, because I know there's a lot of people here who may not normally attend public meetings. This is the public comment section of the meeting. When you get into the discussion of whether or not to move forward with ALA membership or not, public comment will not be allowed at that time. Is that correct? Okay,
yes.
so this is the period of the meeting when everybody here, if you have something to say, you want to say it. And I say that as a former town moderator, so I know having that gavel has to control. I just want to point out one thing. So I was thinking back in terms of times I've spent in the library, and it wasn't this library, but in high school I had a Jesuit education, it was a Catholic education. Don't necessarily subscribe to that now, but to be clear, the priests in the religious class in that high school had us go to the library and read what's called the Apocryphal Bible. It's the portion of the Bible that's not accepted by the modern church. It did exist, it was accepted by some other, sects, and it was around in the centuries after Christ was born. Okay. The people who were teaching me, the Jesuits that were teaching me, had the faith that their argument, that their position were stronger than the counter position. Okay. The Apocryphal Bible says that Jesus was one of several children that Mary had. But Mary wasn't a virgin. There's other things in there too that aren't accepted in the modern church. But they felt confident that they could engage in that argument, engage in that counter argument, and not be afraid of books that might be in the library. So I would just encourage you that it's the diversity of opinions, it is it is reading about ideas that you may not accept that makes you a more intellectual, makes you a more well-educated person in our community, the type of people that we hope we're raising in this community, and the type of people I hope I share this community tonight. So, thank you.
I'm Kate Dubois. I live at 34 Calla Road. I also have 2 children. I want to raise those 2 children to be welcoming, inclusive, kind-hearted people. So far, so good. They love it here. We love the librarians here. They absolutely feel welcome here. I'd love for it to stay that way. It's disheartening to see that there are community members and potentially trustees and board members who want to let their personal opinions about certain books and topics cloud the vision of the freedom of information and the freedom of representation. I want my kids to see that representation. I trust them, and I trust myself and my husband to guide them. I trust the people in the community to do the same. If their family doesn't want their children to read certain books, they can make that choice for themselves, but I do not accept, I reject somebody making that decision for my family. I'll do that myself. And I think the schools and the library in this town are doing an excellent job of that. So I really encourage anybody in a position of power to keep their personal opinions to themselves, especially in public. And if you're gonna be in a position where you're representing people, then you need to represent the people and not your own opinions. I appreciate the rhetoric today. I think a lot of people have a lot of good points. And I just wanna lean in on that, banning books is a slippery slope. I think we can learn from history. History we can read on the shelves of this library, and I'd like to keep it that way.
My name is Karen Rhodes, and I live at Sanborn Road. I just wanted to add a little bit to it. Number one, I don't have children in this town. My children have really lived elsewhere. But my grandsons have been to this library and have enjoyed it. So I have that perspective. But I do want to say, this is a state that believes in live free and die. It doesn't sound right to me, banning books, is allowing the rest of us to live free. Because it takes away my right to choose. And I don't believe that is correct, or the way that we should be doing things here in this state. Thank you.
Hi, Maria Barud, Bridal Path. So I love the library. All my 3 kids come to the library. We love coming here. And I like hearing that everybody here wants diversity, wants the opinions to be heard, everybody's opinions to be heard. Unfortunately, recently, conservative opinions are not being heard as much. I've seen over recent years the library choices change in the library. Books, just like the Columbus Day, is hidden, and we're promoting Indigenous People Day, and we can promote both, but we cannot ban history. We're all talking about, oh, we're banning books. Nobody wants to ban books. We want to provide freedom of choice to children. But why there are only choices on a more progressive agenda? Why there is not so many choices of conservative classical values? And I have a problem with this library being a member of ALA because the director, Ms. Drabinsky, is self-proclaimed Marxist. Me growing up in Poland under communism, socialism, and Marxism, I have a huge problem seeing that the library subscribes to the group that is openly promoting Marxism and wants to promote Marxism agendas through their libraries. This is in her own words. So I have a problem with that, and we want to promote different opinions and be welcoming. Yes, parents should have a choice, and you don't want your children read this, that's fine. That's why I'm screening the books that my children read. However, recently, unfortunately, I see that only one side is promoted more, and the other one is being silenced. And we are being labeled by banning books. Nobody wants banned books. I want access. I want my children to have access to everybody, but let's listen to everybody. And there's a lot of books that are, in my mind, inappropriate. But there should be in a section somewhere in the library, not displayed for all the little children to see. Because I do not agree with telling little children that they can be a boy or a girl. This is not my opinion. So let's be inclusive, but I'm not going to ban your children from reading this. Let's be inclusive and include also parents that have conservative values. So that's it.
Hear, hear.
John Faber, 73 Old Nashua Road. I think you heard a lot of people talk tonight, and everyone's really impassioned. And the one common thing that comes through this is book banning. I don't think anyone here wants any kind of book banning. And I think one of the things I'll call for is to ask for a more transparent process for the library. I know we can't put every book on the shelf. I know there may be some books that fall above certain standards where I think maybe we all agree something should be on the shelf. But I think it would be helpful for everybody in this group to have a process that you can see clearly and concisely
which books got rejected and why, and so we can know. And we don't have to go around and think about, well, maybe it got because of this certain thing, or maybe they're ideologically this way. Let's just be up above and board, and let's make everybody in this room happy and have a better transparent process so everybody can see what's going on, and we can all know and go back to being the nice, inclusive, happy community we've been.
We do have policies in place. Next. Anybody else?
I just wanted to briefly respond with new and additional comment. You do have policies in place, but by Director Matlin's and the staff's admission that I read in the back and forth emails via the 91A government release process, those policies have not been consistently applied or followed, nor are all staff members currently trained on them. So if you were to come up with a more transparent process that all library staff could be on the same page on, that may be well, Madam Chair. Thank you.